Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide on Alisaie's Lost Chapter, Another Realm, Part 13, Hard Mode. And without further ado, let's start this video. As always, we will start off with the weaknesses, resistances, and the abilities of the last boss, which is the Magic Halo. Now, the Magic Halo does not have any inherent weakness, but it does have some resistances, which are on melee and physical range attacks. As for its abilities, actually it will depend on his black veil or white veil. So his elemental resistances and weaknesses will change as well with the black veil and white veil, as I mentioned. Inflicting break tears away the veil and its effect as well. Now it will always have flare, which is a magic brave attack, life cut, which is a melee HP attack, black veil and white veil, which both increases its brave and removes debuffs without frames, and grants itself shield and elude as well. And like I said earlier, it will change its own weaknesses and resistances depending on the veil. This also reduces brave damage taken from all attacks to which it is not weak against. So we'll start off with the Black Veil. The Black Veil actually has resistance to fire, ice, thunder, and dark elements, and has weakness to earth, wind, water, and holy elements. Now it will have access to new abilities, the Dark Kra variant, which is a dark magic brave attack, Spear of Darkness, which is a melee brave attack, which also inflicts a speed down, and a sap, as well as it has a high turn rate. Next, it has Agony Waltz, which is a melee brave attack plus an HP attack. This also inflicts an attack down and defense down. And finally, for the Black Veil, it will have Blade Juggler, which is basically it will increase its brave and will do a group melee brave attack plus an HP attack, which inflicts max brave down. Now let's take a look at the White Veil variant, which is it will have resistance to earth, wind, water, and holy elements, and will have a weakness to fire, ice, thunder, and dark elements. It will have access to Stone, which is an earth magic brave attack which delays the target by 1 turn, and it will also have the Stonera version, which is also a earth magic brave attack, and this time it will delay the target for 2 turns. It has Calm Down, which is a magic brave attack. This also removes the target's buffs without any frames, and it will grant itself an initial brave up and a defense up. Next, it has Trick Holy, which is increases in its own brave, and it will deal a magic HP attack which recovers HP based on the HP damage it deals. And finally, it has Heavenly Ray, which is a group holy magic brave attack, and it grants itself a brave regen. Okay, so now that we know the abilities, the weaknesses, and the resistances of the Magic Halo, it's time to take a look at some general tips and guide. So the first one is to save about 60 to 70% of your abilities for the final boss. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply if you are a veteran player, if you have a lot of characters to choose from, but if you are a new player, this is probably a strategy that you need to apply. The next one is to bring in the boosted characters. In this case, it has Alisaie, Terra, and Papa Limo. If you don't have any of these characters, other characters that you may want to consider are Renoa, the twins, Leo, Kuja, Onion Knight, Shantoto, Rydia, Kefka, Ace, Beatrix, Lulu, Vaughn, Vanille, Deuce, Rosa, Ash, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but you can actually use Cater here as well if you really want to, but she's so crap even at level 70. I just don't know. I'm just putting her there because she just got her level 70 awakening, but she's not exactly the strongest character, but she can definitely, you know, at least help you clear this particular lost chapter, because this is not a Cosmos level lost chapter, it is only an EX level, so I think you can carry Cater here. Now the next one is your healers plus brave battery options. Now these tend to stay the same, and I tend to add new characters that I feel like are very good healers plus brave battery options, so they tend to stay the same. So this time it's Rem, Selfie Maria, Eiko, Lena, and of course you've got Kate Sith there as well. Now in this particular fight, I feel like Selfie, Eiko, and Rem are probably the better choice, seeing as they are magic based characters, while Lena is still really good. She is a physical range, and this sort of limits her in her DPS, but you know, you're not really bringing her much for the DPS. But if you really want to be quite effective, I think either Rem or Eiko, like I said, is probably the better choice. Now as for the summon, of course it's going to be either Ifrit or Shiva, depending on who you really want to bring. Alright, now let's take a look at some general tips for the fight itself. The first one is always, I think, going to be bring a Quistis support at this point. Even though Quistis isn't as effective DPS wise as a brave battery and the ability to delay the boss, and there is only one here, so she is still quite effective even though she's kind of limited in her own DPS. But I still feel like Quistis is the best support at this point in time. You can definitely change it up. You can probably bring Rinoa instead, or Rydia instead, depending on who you really want to bring. But if you're gonna replace Quistis, make sure to replace it with a magic based character. Now the next one is to pay attention to the veil. This is the key to making this fight easier, knowing which veil is up and which element you're gonna be using in order to break that veil, and make sure you don't get like, you know, brave damage get broken and then get HP attack. And of course the boss has quite a lot of max brave overall, so it's probably best for you to pay attention to which veil is up and break it effectively. The next one is to let you guys know the mode for these veils. Now you'll probably notice earlier on when I'm listing all the abilities, the black veil tends to be more of the buffer mode for the boss. It will keep applying debuffs on your team, and the white veil is more of a buffer mode for the boss. Now the white veil still has a trick up its sleeve more than the trick Holy. It has Calm Down, where it will actually remove all your buffs without any frames. Even though it is a buffer mode, it can still debuff you even though it is in its white veil form. So just pay attention to that as well, and make sure to reapply your buffs as necessary. Now the final one is, I guess, is basically not to get overconfident if you are a veteran player. And this happened to me. Basically, I let all my characters get broken all at the same time, and this resulted in a death. Now, I'm still trying to carry my Alisaie at this point, so I wasn't really paying attention all that much, but in my experience, just don't get too overconfident, or else you'll have to repeat the fight and, you know, try to get that max score, or at least try not to let anyone die. Alright, so now that the general tips and guide is out of the way, let's take a look at some possible party compositions. Now the first one is obviously going to be the boosted characters, which are Alisaie, Papalymo, and Terra, and again Quistis support with an Ifrit and Shiva summon. Now the next team that I have here is what you guys are seeing, is basically the Rinoa Lael Alisaie combo with a Quistis support and Shiva as my summon. Actually, I would have preferred to use Ifrit, but it doesn't really matter at this point. this is basically sort of a callback to the launch meta where you end up using Lael, and of course I would have probably switched out Alisaie with Eiko here if I didn't have to bring Alisaie to complete all the rewards, of course. So if by any chance you're rerunning it, then I would suggest replacing Alisaie with Eiko, because she gives a little bit more brave battery to the rest of the party, or at least Lena is probably another much better choice in terms of like brave regen and obviously doing your launch thing. Now the third one I have here is Ashe, Lulu, and Eiko with acquisitive support, Ifrit and Shiva as your summon depending on who you want. This is basically just a full-on DPS kind of thing. Again, Lulu is quite replaceable here. I think Ashe is more potent in terms of like DPS wise. Lulu doesn't have an EX and neither does Eiko, so if you can bring maybe Lael in replacement. I only added Lulu here so in case that the boss ups like a white veil, at least you can take that out, and if it ups a black veil, you can take it out with Ashe's holy element. So Lulu is there for the white veil and Ashe more for the black veil. Okay, the last one here is going to be the twins, Lulu and Rydia with acquisitive support, Ifrit and Shiva as your summon. Basically, it's a full-on elemental attack. Basically, you are covered whichever veil the boss will put up. The twins has multiple different ones. They have a mix of earth, fire, wind, water, and heart, and that's Captain Planet. So in any case, this is just that basically, so you don't have to be thinking about what veil is up. The twins are there, and then you have Rydia who has water element, so having the water element, basically the black veil is non-existent, and then you have Lulu, which means the white veil is non-existent as well. So that's basically the strategy for this last one. Okay, so we're finally at the end of the video, and of course I would give you guys my final verdict or my final thoughts on this fight. Well, to be honest, if you are a veteran player and you have access to a lot of different elemental characters, this fight is easy peasy. Basically, this is just an EX, to be completely honest. EX right now is kind of the easy mode for veteran players. If you are a new player though, this probably be a little bit in the difficult side, only because of the boss's mechanics regarding the black veil and white veil. If you're kind of limited with your magic based characters and limited into like their elements as well, then this is going to be a difficult fight. So overall, it's kind of a mixed bag. If you're a veteran and you have access to a lot of different characters, they're gonna be quite easy fight. And if you are a new player, unfortunately, if you are very limited on those elemental type attacks, then you are definitely gonna have a much harder time in this fight. So I think that's it with this video, guys. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, leave down the comments below which team you use to actually beat this lost chapter, or if you have any difficulties, you're more than welcome to ask away in the comment section below. You can also direct message me on Facebook or on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.